안녕하세요. Why did we choose to cycle in the southwest of Korea? On the one hand, because they are magnificent rivers lined with cycle paths. We love this region because it is closer to nature and more rural. On the other hand, it is a region that is full of sightseeings that we did not want to miss, like gardens that are magical and original, a folk village, and especially the famous Jinju Lantern Festival. Without forgetting the contagious cheerfulness of Koreans of all ages. So, do you want to come with us? Welcome to this second video of our 6-week trip to South Korea in the fall of 2024. After cycling the classic ride from Seoul to Busan that you can see in this other video, we were far from being satisfied. And happy to see that there were other regions equipped with cycle paths totaling nearly 300 kilometers, including those along the Gokseong and Seongjin rivers. Here is our chosen route of approximately 275 kilometers, which we started in Gwangju and extended to Suncheon, given the many attractions of this city. And there we are on an early morning in Busan on this September 29. I really need a good coffee to understand the schedule and find the platform of our direct train to Gwangju. Once again, 1,000 thanks to our Helix folding bikes, which allow us in the blink of an eye to have compact luggage that does not require dedicated bike carriages. Here's the smile of a cyclotourist, happy to be able to take public transportation so simply. Gwangju is a city of 1.4 million inhabitants that caught our attention for two reasons. The first being its cultural presence in Asia, since it hosts the biennial featuring the works by 72 artists from 30 countries. The second reason is that Gwangju is considered the center of democracy in South Korea. We are moved by the endless graves of the victims of the brutal repression of the demonstrators in 1980. Fortunately, the rest of the country was receptive and chose democracy in 1987. And we round off our stay with a sunset at the Sajik Tower, from where we once again notice the concern of Korean urban planners to adjust the profile of buildings to the relief of the mountains. The next morning, we leave Gwangju, starting by following a small tributary where we continue to appreciate these original bridges. And we then join the wide valley of the Gyeongsang River. We thus arrive at Damyang, where we have chosen to visit some attractions. Starting with the bamboo forest, which is apparently unique in this northern latitude. You can walk for several kilometers on path with poetic names like the Whispering Bamboo Trail. In Korea, bamboo symbolizes strength and integrity, as it remains upright even in the strongest winds. What is this structure for? It's an age test based on the size of the belly. This does not prevent us from enjoying ourselves, as the cycle path literally crosses a street food, offering regional specialties such as rice steamed in a bamboo tube, which gives it a delicate and flagrant flavor. We end this trio of attractions with the romantic setting of the Metasequoia Alley of 2.5 kilometers long, which has often been used for filming Korean dramas. Since it is forbidden to bicycles, we will simply follow the parallel road. We then leave this valley for a beautiful rural region before crossing towards the magnificent Seomjing River, a narrower valley that is more natural. As we arrive in Gokseong, we take advantage of the fact that a fast train can take us to Jeonju in 40 minutes for a memorable visit. We started our exploration with the Jaeman Mural Village. Originally, it was a modest and little-known residential area, but in 2013, local artists started painting on the walls of the houses. And it became an open-air gallery where it is a pleasure to discover little gems at every turn of the alleys. By the way, do you recognize this one? And it is hungry that we go to the vast Hanok village because Jeonju is recognized as the culinary capital of Korea and registered as a creative city of gastronomy by UNESCO. We start with some street food like a Korean bread stuffed with cheese and donut stuffed with meat and vegetables. But for nothing in the world do we want to miss their iconic dish, apparently the best bibimbap in Korea. A bibimbap is a rice dish covered with colorful vegetables, a protein like beef, and seasoned with red pepper paste. Here is our tasting.
Alors, la façon coréenne de manger un bibimbap, qui ressemble à un pokéball chez nous, c'est avec la cuillère de cornelle bouchée, d'ajouter avec les baguettes des ingrédients. Et il faut tout manger d'une bouchée. Et le soyou, il faut boire le verre d'une gorgée. Et voilà.
And this brings us to the delicious food we ate throughout this trip. Food in Korea is really varied and easy to find everywhere. Here's how we ate throughout a typical day. Since we like to leave early in the morning, especially when it's hot, we have a light first meal without cooking, such as cereal, yogurt, fruit, or rolls purchased beforehand at the bakery. However, since Lucy loves her smoothie and I need my good coffee, we find cafes everywhere, except that most of them don't open before 9 a.m. or even 10 a.m., which gave us a good reason to take a break and have a second breakfast. How beautiful life is. By lunchtime, we would more often opt for a convenience store. Here are the major brands. They are literally everywhere, always open, and offer a surprising and appetizing variety of meals, with always a small kitchen area equipped with a microwave and boiling water to prepare the dozens of varieties of noodles. We particularly like the kimbap, a seasoned rice roll garnished with various ingredients wrapped in a sheet of dried seaweed. Yummy! We also visited the markets, especially for vegetables and fruits, although you should know that fruits are expensive in Korea, 5,000 won for this tasty apple. You could also find street food in most markets.
지금 가면 차가 나가는 차가 있어야.
We often did our shopping in grocery stores. We found small ones in towns and large ones in cities like this one, where we went from surprise to surprise.
En voulez-vous de la sauce soya? En v'là.
Once a day, more often for dinner, we go to a restaurant. The first thing you notice in Korea is the astronomical quantity of small dishes, the banchan. They serve fermented and spicy vegetables, like the essential kimchi, and all kinds of meats and fish to accompany the main course. We love the endless variations cooked in broth, or sauces that knew how to satisfy the hungry cyclists that we are. We often needed the generous help of Koreans to know how to cook or eat food. So much that I became an expert with chopsticks with the goal of making the biggest mouthful to swallow in one go. You can also eat simpler with traditional noodles, nice, good and cheap, or with the famous duo fried chicken and beer. And finally, if you yearned for a good Western food, it was always possible. And of course, more important than what's on the plate, what we preferred is to share a meal with the friendly Koreans. So it is with a full head and stomach that we leave the gastronomic capital for Gokseong, where we are eager to get back on our bikes for the 2 days that separate us from Suncheon, where we plan to make some great visits. After chatting with another cyclist named Gon, who stayed at the same motel, we start a day in a quiet morning setting, on paths without vehicles where we would never want to stop. Except of course for a stamping station, the traditional coffee, or to chat with other people. Here again it is Gon who is really friendly and who makes us realize that he is one of the only cyclists we will meet in this less frequented region. And little by little we get back on the road, wondering if we are not in a dream. It is so euphoric that it knocked us over. Arriving in Suncheon, we spent a full day at the National Garden as there is so much to see. There are more than 20 gardens representing countries such as Germany, Italy, Holland, and Mexico. But what really catches our attention is the innovative part of the garden formed by mounds and original sculptures. The next day, we go very early by bike to the Suncheon Bay Nature Reserve. It is a saltwater wetland where we travel through the largest reed field in South Korea. The bay is also known for attracting more than 140 species of birds. After this beautiful park, we continue with the folk village of Naganupseong, where we can walk on the walls of an old fortress from the Joseon era and thus have a beautiful view of the village. There are many activities for tourists, but what charms us the most is the fact that the village is inhabited year-round by all these people who work there. Another beautiful discovery. Which brings us to our appreciation of Koreans. We find them really friendly. Despite the little English spoken, it has always been easy to get in touch and communicate using body language or an app. We laughed at being asked almost always the same 3 questions. Where are you from? Do you like Korea? How old are you? We learned that knowing age plays a key role in social interactions. Koreans are also very generous. They always want to help us, for example, to find our way, a hotel or a restaurant, and they constantly offer to share their food with us. Another interesting fact is from our first encounters with cyclists, where we wondered why Koreans were completely masked and even covered their arms and legs in 35 degrees Celsius heat. Finally, we understood that Korea is known for its strong culture of beauty and skincare, the K-beauty, as well as its concern about UV rays. We were a little embarrassed at the idea of taking a public bath with our cyclist stands, but rest assured everything went well. So a big thank you to the Koreans who made our trip much easier and more enjoyable than expected. Our last stop in this region will be in Jinju by train. Korean train stations are great for getting to the platform with our bikes, where we fold them up in a jiffy to easily get to our destination. Why Jeonju? Because of one of the most famous festivals in South Korea, the Lantern Festival. It starts around October 5th and receives several 100,000 visitors, which justified our only hotel reservation in advance during our grand tour. This festival that lights up the river with thousands of colorful lanterns has a rich history dating back to the Japanese invasion in 1592. During the battle, soldiers and locals used floating lanterns to prevent enemy infiltration and send messages between troops. We loved crossing the river on the back of a dragon and looking for the origin of each of the lanterns. Of course, there was plenty of street food that we could enjoy while wandering through the tunnel of lanterns that was over a kilometer long. And that's here that our exploration of the southwest region ends. In summary, we cycled 275 kilometers in 4 days and, hold on, 5 days of sightseeing. There was so much to discover. The nights were all in hotels or motels given the scarcity of campsites. See the little black houses to locate them. Stay tuned, the trip is not over. There is still the East Coast and the return to Seoul, not to be missed in video number 3. On that note, thank you for sharing our enthusiasm for Korea. See you soon.
보고 싶다 이렇게 말하니까도 보고 싶다 너 사진을 보고 있어도 보고 싶다 너무 약속한 시간 나는 우리 겁니다 이제 얼굴 한번 보는 것조차 힘들어진 우리가 저긴 온통 겨울뿐이야 8월에도 겨울이 와 마음은 시간에 달려